Hello and welcome back, all you nerds out there. Thanks for joining me for the latest episode of News for Nerds. Hello and welcome. We are finally at that point in the year where the data is matching the street level conversations, and they're starting to tell the same story. So a few of those stories are worth talking about here more than others. So today's big three themes in today's episode are: the new construction story in Bayonne is not just me talking anymore. It's starting to show up in the data. We're going to go over that. North Bergen is trading over asking price for the first time in I can't remember how long. And West New York just crossed a price point that really changes how we talk about it. So furthermore, July is pretty much when the summer lull starts. All the lazy buyers and sellers out there that don't take it seriously are spending their weekends down the shore, soaking up the rays, off to summer camp, where their kids are anyway. But if you are a motivated buyer, now is the time to take advantage, and that window closes in about 6 weeks. So we're going to go over this month what is actually moving, what my team is seeing on the ground, and the mortgage rate situation that has to do more with oil prices than any news that's coming out of Washington. So let's get right into it. All right, let's talk about mortgage rates and the housing market from a national context. The 30-year fixed rate, 30-year mortgage is sitting right about 6.5 right now. As of July 9th, it was 6.49. That is down from this time last year, where it was at 6.72. So that's meaningful. It's definitely less than it was a year ago, modestly, and down slightly from a week before. In the first week of July, it was at about 6.53. So rates are in a better place year over year, only slightly. But here's what actually moved rates this week, and it really has nothing to do with the Fed. It's that oil went from roughly $68 a barrel to $75 a barrel with what's happening in Iran, unfortunately. This basically causes oil prices, I should say, cause a chain reaction. So higher oil prices push inflation up, which pushes long-term bond yields up, which in turn pushes mortgage rates up. So it's this kind of waterfall chain reaction. And the 10-year Treasury yield as of July 9th was 4.54, up from 4.48 the prior week. So that's what we're seeing that's pushing mortgage rates. The Fed is being cautious. The new chair, Kevin Warsh, his upcoming testimony in Congress is the thing the market is watching the most, along with CPI and PPI releases in the next coming weeks. The point for buyers: if energy prices ease, rates have room to come down. If oil holds at about 75 a barrel, we're probably staying in the mid 6 range for at least the rest of summer and Q3. So that's anywhere between forecasts are showing 6.4 and 6.6 range, 6.6% range. So plan accordingly. The national picture, real estate data wise, is pretty much unchanged. So I'm not really going to get into it too much here. There's 1.09 million homes on the market nationally, essentially flat from last year. And about 40% of the listings nationally have taken a price cut. Last month, we were saying about a third, so that's up a little bit. But that is the market elsewhere. Our Q2 data locally is a totally different conversation entirely. So what is on the menu right now if you are a home buyer in Hoboken? Right now, we're looking at 4 studio condos available, 29 one-bedrooms, 53 two-bedrooms, 16 three-bedrooms, 6 four-bedrooms, 1 5-bedroom. And in all of Hoboken, there are 4 single-family homes that are for sale in the entire city. That is the menu here for Hoboken. It is pretty much the same as June. A slight increase in the 2-bedroom and 3-bedroom, 2-bedroom market, up about 5 listings. I think there were 17 at the time of recording, 3 bedrooms on the market. So little has changed here. My team's take from this month, in our recent meeting this week, is this. If you are a buyer that has been circling the Hoboken market, now is the time. Just as I was talking about the lull in the market, that's basically your competition right now. July and August slow down competition-wise. So that's what's on the market right now, and that's what you have to work with. If you're a 2-bedroom or 3-bedroom buyer, you got a lot to choose from here, but it's important to note that the top is still frothy. So the things that are selling quickly, and here's an anecdote for you that really illustrates this point. Just about 2 weeks ago, at the beginning of this month, we released a very nice one-bedroom condo for sale at 122 Madison. We listed that for $599, and after multiple offers, the best one that came through was $30,000 over asking. Parents got involved. It's very common right now, but that really tells you something about, even though there's a lot of, well, relatively a lot of inventory on the market in Hoboken, the stuff that is the best that's on the market is really still has some competition. But if you are a buyer right now, now is the time to take advantage because there's less competition. And if you can sit with those higher mortgage rates for a little while before they go down, that's when all the other buyers jump back in, especially at the end of summer, after Labor Day. Now is the time to get in there and start putting in some offers on the places that you like. Single family listings are selling right now in half the time that they did this time last year. We're down to 8 days on the market before finding a buyer. And the percent of asking price on those single families that have sold so far this year on average is 103% of asking price. And that's up from 96% a year ago. It's really kind of showing you how much competition is involved right now in that single family market. And another thing to illustrate right now is that so far this year, we've seen more sales in the single family market in the first half of the year than all of 2025. So this may be some of those smart money people deciding to pocket that appreciation, but the real question is, where are they heading? All right, so what's happening in Jersey City so far this year? Looking strong across the board. Single family contracts are up almost 40% in Q2. That's 38.3% to be exact. Condo percentage of asking price flipped up to 102% in Q2. That's up from 99.3% a year ago. The average sale price across both categories of condos and houses are both up pretty meaningfully here this latest quarter. The trajectory chart that you can see in our stats shows a steady climb in both condos and single family houses going all the way back to 2022. And my team noted that people from Brooklyn and Manhattan who already know about Jersey City are still the ones that are driving demand in that area. The big wrinkle here lately, though, that's throwing some people off is the news and the possibility of a 15 to 20% property tax increase coming to Jersey City as a whole. Nothing is confirmed yet, but it's definitely in the conversation. For those buyers who chose or are choosing Jersey City specifically because of tax savings relative to New York City, are double checking that math to make sure it really makes sense. Despite the taxes, though, price per square footage wise across the board, you're getting more for your money in Jersey City than many parts of Manhattan, pretty much all of Manhattan at this point. So as long as that math adds up with the possibility of increased taxes, it can still make sense, but it's just something important to note for Jersey City buyers heading into Q3. So what was that big theme we were talking about at the head of this episode in Bayonne? Well, here we go. Q2 Bayonne condo median sale prices are up 48% to an average of $380,000. And the explanation for that is actually pretty straightforward. So we're seeing a lot of new construction in Bayonne right next to the light rail, in buildings that are kind of this box style with 12 to 16 units. So still like boutique size, but a lot more units, a lot more land being taken up by these buildings here, especially by the light rail. And it's really pulling that median sale price up for these new construction. So some of those units are selling in the $900,000 price range. So it's really a big boost to that median sales price and a big reason why it's gone up that 48%. And that number in the market, where the old average was about 250,000, really changes the math fast. Single family picture is pretty intentionally steady, and that's what we like to see. Slow growth in Bayonne is really, at least in the single family market, what we want to see. Active single family listings are up 84.6%, giving buyers more to look at without creating a whole lot of pricing pressure. Single family contracts are up also 17.2% over Q2, with the median sales price of just shy of 620,000. So that's a stable, appreciating market, and that's what we like to see here in Hudson County. So the Bayonne story has been building here for about 2 years. I've been talking about it a lot, and now the data is starting to show up in these median prices, and you can really see the jump here in the stats. So they're not just stories, not just anecdotes anymore, and that's why we're covering it, especially in this episode. All right, so what is going on with North Bergen? It's one of those zip codes and areas that I normally gloss over in these episodes because not a whole lot changes month to month. Pretty steady market up there, but Q2 has really shown some surprising highlights, and that's why I'm calling it out here on this episode. So Q2 stats here are showing that single family contracts are up almost 60%, and sales are up 40%. Also, the selling price is over ask at average 100.3% of list price. So North Bergen single family homes are definitely firing all cylinders here in Q2. And here's the data that backs that up. The condo story is just as interesting. Q2 condo median prices were up 39.1% to an average of $432.5 thousand. And that average price from from Q2 last year is up 28.7%. So my team's theory here on this is really who's buying in North Bergen, and it's bringing a lot of tech and data buyers. If you're drawing a radius on a map as a buyer, you're seeing a huge green park, one of the biggest ones in Hudson County, with the James Braddock Park right there. The commute times are pretty favorable from pretty much any point in North Bergen, and the math works a lot better than many other areas in Hudson County in North Bergen right now. So whether you're looking at a single family house or a condo, it's a hot market right now, and the reason is pretty clear. I mean, it's just a good place to buy, especially if you don't need, or if you're not one of those buyers that is just tied to Hoboken or Jersey City. You get a lot more bang for your buck up there. The thesis on North Bergen has been pretty consistent. Q2 made those numbers, brought the story to life here with those numbers. So if you're buying or looking for inventory there, the time to move really is right now. This is another theme I'm obviously harping on here. This July-August timeframe is the time to get in. Even though prices are up, you can jump on before the appreciation really takes off in North Bergen. So the action in West New York is definitely worth talking about here this month as well, specifically when we're talking about the neighborhoods around Bulls Ferry and Jacobs Ferry. Those specific buildings right there along the waterfront, it's more like a community, actually. It's a gated community. Lots of really good amenities there. One of the big quotes I remember from our meeting here this week is that if you want parking, you want 3 bedrooms, you want a townhouse with a few floors that feels like a house, close to the water, and a ferry shuttle. If you're looking in Bulls Ferry and Jacobs Ferry, that's a great place to find it. And the price point right now is about $1.2 million. That's really kind of the new threshold for this market, but you really are getting that home feel with a 3 or 4 bedroom condo. A lot of those have multiple floors. And again, you have parking and you're right on the water. So there's a lot to talk about there and a good reason for that. The Q2 condo median price was $512,000, which is up 42.4% from this time last year. The days on market fell 30% to 32 days, even as active listings have jumped almost 50%, 45.5% from this time last year. So with that combination of more inventory and faster sales at higher prices is what happens when a product coming to market is actually meeting the expectations, the demand for the buyers that are there. Again, this is a great alternative to downtown and Jersey City, especially if you want that home feel. You get something that feels like a single family house, technically a condo, but a lot more affordable. So if you've been eyeing West New York or other neighborhoods in Hudson County, definitely take a look at Bulls Ferry and Jacobs Ferry. It's a pretty big community, and there at any given time, there's quite a bit of inventory, but especially right now, there's a lot on the market and a good time to take advantage. Weehawken Q2 condo days on market has a pretty big shift from last year, up 84% to an average of 57 days on the market. That is a little bit elevated for sure, but that's mostly sellers who overpriced and have been sitting on the market while the market moved around them. Condo sales were down, and percent of asking prices down also to 99.1% there in Weehawken. But the single family story is thin but strong. Median prices up 55.9% to an average of 1.225 million. But that is just talking about 5 single family listings in all of Weehawken that are on the market right now at time of recording. So yeah, the single family market in Weehawken is thin but definitely competitive right now. The bottom line here though is that Weehawken is mostly unchanged from last month. We're seeing a little bit of price adjustment, especially in that condo segment of the market. But the best products, as with all of these places that we're talking about pretty much on a monthly basis here, the best product is often the one that moves quickly and for the most amount of money, because you have the most amount of buyers competing for that. Everything else, if it doesn't have a realistic price, is sitting around for a while. All right, let's wrap this up with my key takeaways from this month's episode. 3 markets that have accelerated in Q2 that weren't really in the spotlight last year. Those were and are Bayonne, North Bergen, and West New York. The data right now is actually showing up and is consistent from what we've been seeing on the ground here so far this year. If you're a buyer in those markets, move before the summer ends. Make your move now, period, end of sentence. If you're a seller in Hoboken or Jersey City, the Q2 momentum is on your side, but definitely take a look at the comps when you come to a decision about your pricing, because you don't want to really push too hard on that, especially if you're not in that very little frothy bit at the top of the market. So as always, if you're not receiving this stuff, if you want to get any of these stats specifically to your neighborhood or want to talk about what this means specifically for your situation, you know where to find me. Always happy to talk this through with all of you. DM me, email me, call me, whatever you got. Subscribe, hit the bell, and I will see you next month. Thanks so much for tuning in. Take care, nerds.